everyone, and welcome to Art with Mrs. Tebow. I know first grade artists, it's been kind of different now that we're not in class, but I thought, hey, I can bring the art room to you at home or wherever you are right now. So what I'm going to do is teach a lesson just like I would if we were in the art room, and you're going to get to follow along on your computer. So what I need you to do is you're going to push pause anytime you need to, especially with collecting materials, or maybe you need to stop and use the restroom, whatever you need to do, and you're going to follow along with Mrs. Tebow. So here is our first digital art lesson. Boys and girls, our lesson will be focused on this learning standard. This says first grade art standards. Our first standard says, I will create works of art to tell a personal story. That's right, art tells a personal story. Our second standard says, I will use personal symbols in artwork to document myself in surroundings and community. You boys and girls need to understand how we can use symbols as drawings to show feelings, to show ideas, and I'm going to talk about that later on. What we're going to do, an artist who's famous for using symbols in her work and telling a personal story is Frida Kahlo. You might recognize Frida Kahlo from her appearance in Coco. Thumbs up if you've seen this before. I bet a lot of you have that thumb up. Well, Frida Kahlo is an incredible artist, and we're going to learn about her by watching this short YouTube clip.
Frida Kahlo was a Mexican artist who became famous for her self-portraits that were strongly influenced by her Mexican culture. Frida was born near Mexico City on July 6, 1907, and grew up with her parents and 6 sisters. At age 6, Frida contracted a disease called polio, which damaged her right leg and meant she couldn't leave her bed for 9 months. So instead of playing with her sisters, she spent most of her time alone. Despite her childhood love of drawing, Frida Kahlo didn't always want to be an artist. She wanted to become a doctor. But in 1925, she was in a terrible bus accident that meant she was unable to walk for 3 months, and she began to paint from her hospital bed. Painting helped her pass the time and to express the pain that she was feeling. Frida wanted to know if she was talented enough to become a professional painter, so she approached artist Diego Rivera for an opinion on her work. The two artists eventually got married in 1929. They both continued to paint and became very successful artists. In 1931, Diego was asked to paint a mural in San Francisco, so Frida and Diego moved to America. They lived there for 3 years. Diego wanted to stay, but Frida was very homesick and unhappy, so they soon moved back to live in Mexico. Her unhappiness in her life in America can be seen in her paintings. Frida Kahlo is most famous for her many self-portraits. She used her art to express her emotions in various moments of her life and to reflect the lifelong pain she felt after her accident. She was very proud of her Mexican heritage, and this is also shown in her paintings, which feature bright colors, dramatic symbols, and traditional Mexican clothing. Frida Kahlo died in 1954 when she was 47 years old. She is remembered as a strong woman who used her art to overcome her circumstances and to accomplish great things despite her struggles, and she inspires artists to this day to express their emotions through their art.
All right, artists, something you should have picked up in that video is how Frida Kahlo uses her art to express herself and her feelings. In this work we're looking at right here, we see a self-portrait. A self-portrait means it's a drawing of your self. Good job, I'm glad you said it, you played along. And in her self-portrait, we see Frida Kahlo. We learn what she looks like in a self-portrait, but we learn so much more. Take a look at this painting. What else is in this work other than just a person? That's right, I see a lot of animals. I'm noticing insects like butterflies. I see dragonflies up here. I see a monkey and a cat. On her neck, I see a hummingbird on vines. I also see what's around her. Her environment matters. She looks like she might be in the wilderness, out in a forest, in a jungle, and that does matter. She didn't just put it in there for fun. It has a meaning, it has a purpose. It's a symbol. Now, one important symbol in her work, a really good example, is on her necklace. Right here I said we saw a hummingbird. Well, this is what a hummingbird symbolizes. The hummingbird symbolizes hope and good luck in Mexican culture. Oh, now when we look at that self-portrait again, we don't just see a person who maybe really likes animals. We see that she has this necklace around her symbolizing that she, as we read right here, has hope and wishes for good luck. So what I want you to think about for your self-portrait, oh, here's another example of Frida Kahlo's work. Again, we see her with animals, and we are thinking in our mind, what could these animals symbolize? What could the things around her, the color she's wearing, what could they symbolize? I can look at this and kind of get an idea of who Frida Kahlo is. For your project today, you're going to be learning how to make a self-portrait, but more importantly, you're going to have a symbol in your portrait. For this lesson, I want you to think of this question first. What are examples of things that are important to you? So here's what I mean by that. Miss Thibault, let's see, art is very important to me. I'm a mom, so my family is really important to me. I really value time to myself. I'm somebody who likes to kind of relax on the couch, read a book, cook, things like that. Start thinking right now. What are examples of things that are important to you? All right, now that we've thought of some ideas, look at our next question. What animal will you use as a symbol in your self-portrait? So based on what Miss Thibault said, I like art. I really love my family. I told you I like to be alone and have alone time too. That makes me think of an animal. That makes me think of this girl here. This is my cat, Nottingham. And a cat is very similar to that characteristic I was talking about. She likes to have time to herself. She likes to relax and reflect. And so when I do my self-portrait, I'm going to be drawing myself with the symbol of a cat to kind of represent having time to yourself. Say bye, Nottingham. For this lesson, you will need paper, markers, crayons, a pencil, and you can see I also have a mirror today because to draw a self-portrait, we need to know what we look like. Pause the video and go gather your materials. All right, artists, now that we have our materials, it's time to start your self-portrait. For your self-portrait, of course, we need to start by knowing what we look like. With your mirror, I want you to investigate your face. I want you to look at the shapes. I want you to look at the details. For example, I have freckles, I have earrings, I have brown eyes. I'm looking at my hair. I'm studying what I look like. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm going to start drawing my self-portrait. As I'm drawing, I'm always looking in my mirror, and I'm going to start by drawing my head. Now, we know that we need to fit our animal along with ourselves, so make sure you leave space for that. When I draw my head, I know that a head is kind of an oval or a circle shape, and I start with that. Now remember, we don't do perfect in art, we try our best. So it's not gonna be perfect, Miss Thibault's won't be either, and you do have an eraser if you want to make changes. Now that I've drawn my face, I'm gonna look in my mirror at my eyes. Now this is Miss Thibault's drawing. You're not Miss Thibault, you're gonna look different than me. So make sure you're stopping the video and you're drawing your own as I draw mine. I'm looking in my mirror and I see eyebrows. Again, you pause the video and you draw yourself each time. You don't have to keep up with Miss Thibault. You're not supposed to look like me. You're supposed to look like you because it's your self-portrait. I see my nose. And noses are tricky to draw. You find which way you want to draw your nose in your picture. It does not have to look like Miss Thibault's. Because it's a self-portrait expressing myself, I'm a pretty happy person, so I'm gonna put a nice big smile on too. But you decide in your art what you wanna do. All right, pause the video at any time if you need to. I'm looking for details now. In my mirror, I see I have eyelashes. In my mirror, I see a pupil. I see Miss Tebow has freckles. I see Miss Tebow has a chin. All those details are gonna start to make it look a little more like Miss Tebow. Okay, now we're moving on to the other parts. I need some hair. I'm looking in my mirror and I see that I have some hair on the top of my head. And then because my hair is in a ponytail, well actually not a ponytail, it's in a bun on the top of my head, I'm gonna show that too. Miss Tebow has ears. You might not be able to see your ears if your hair is covering them, so look in your mirror at what you look like. And I also have earrings. All right, pause the video and make sure you draw it in your own way. Now that my face is done, I'm gonna add my neck. And because it's close up, this is gonna make it easier for us. We can't see the whole body. We just see the shoulders. I'm going to add a shirt line. And Miss Tebow always wears her apron, so I'm gonna put my apron on. You can do something that represents you in your art. All right, now I'm gonna think about that animal. I've drawn my self-portrait, and again, look in your mirror. Do you have glasses? Do you have earrings? Do you have beads? Any of those details need to go on before you do this next step. Miss Tebow's drawn her details. I'm going to add my animal. Now remember in the video about Frida Kahlo, we learned that the animals are used as symbols. I shared with you that I'm doing a cat to represent how I also like to have time to myself and relax, just like a cat does. So Frida Kahlo has her animals kind of on her shoulders. You could put it anywhere. If you're choosing a bird or something, makes sense to be in the sky, so do what works for you. I have some room right here. Now, if you don't know how to draw your animal, let's say you pick a jaguar because you're a really fast runner, for example. Ask your family if you can pause this video, look up a picture, and that way you can look at that animal as you draw it. That makes it so much easier when we have a visual reference. Miss Tebow's drawn cats a couple times before, so I'm kind of thinking of what my kitty Nottingham looks like, and I'm drawing her as best as I can. She's not going to be perfect because I'm not perfect, but she's going to be my best drawing for me. Now I have room for the body of the kitty. If you have room, make sure you add that in there. And her big tail, of course. All right. Now Miss Tebow's going to pause the video and add any other final details as you pause the video to do the same. I want you to think about, where are you? I'm going to show some places that I like to go to in the background. I want you to think about if you want more than one animal. What do you need to add to yourself to make it look like you for your self-portrait? Go ahead and pause your video while I pause mine so we can finish all of our pencil details. Then we're going to meet together and we're going to start adding our colors. All right, boys and girls, can you tell what details I added? That's right. On my cat, I added a little fur texture, and I love that her little kitty paws are coming over my shoulder. I tried to show where I am. Can you look at my details? I have shells. I have a line, a horizon line. I have a boat and some clouds. Can you tell where one of my favorite places to be is from this art? Where is it? That's right, the beach. If you have all of your details done, you can move to the next step. But if you want to pause the video right now and add some more, go ahead and do that. All right, I'm happy with my drawing. So I'm going to go in and take my black marker and start tracing. Now, artists, you know in the art room that when we trace our lines, we take our time and try our best to follow the line. I'm not making new lines. I'm copying what I already have. Now, something kind of tricky in a self-portrait is a lot of times we want to trace those eyebrows and color them in. Well, if I colored that in, what color would it be? Black, that's right. Miss Tebow has brown hair and brown eyebrows, so I don't want to do that. I want to leave them open on the inside. I'm going to do the same thing with my hair here, I'm gonna trace the line that shows where my hair is. I might even trace some of that texture of it being pulled back. I made some of my little wispies. I'm gonna trace the outline of my bun, and again, some of the texture. But did I color it in all the way black? No, that's right. I left it open so I can color that later. I'm going to use my marker, and I'm going to finish tracing every single line that I drew with my pencil with my marker. We're going to pause here, let you go ahead and finish tracing all your lines as I finish tracing mine. All right, artists, now that everything is traced, it's time to color. Now, I'm going to use crayons for mine. You can use colored pencils, markers, crayons, anything you have around the house. Even if you have watercolor paint, it's up to you. And I just want to encourage you to choose colors that really represent you. Remember, we are trying to show a symbol of who we are with our work. So first of all, for my self-portrait, I want it to look like me. I'm looking in the mirror and I'm looking at my skin tone to match or find as close as I can. I have kind of a peach tan skin, so I found a peach crayon. And I realized right away, my skin is a darker tan than this peach. So if you don't have the color that goes with your skin tone, you can always overlap or mix colors. So if I take my brown and I push soft with it, notice that now I can make kind of a darker skin tone. So feel free to mix colors and overlap them. In addition to my skin, I'm gonna look in my mirror at my eyes, my hair. I really want this to look like me. Now, after I'm done coloring myself, I'm gonna choose colors for my animal that make sense. I'm probably gonna look at Nottingham, my cat. I'm gonna think of those beachy colors, and I'm gonna color my whole work of art. I'm gonna color mine while you pause the video and color yours. Here we go. All right, boys and girls, here I am with my finished self-portrait inspired by the art of Frida Kahlo. I cannot wait to see your self-portrait with an animal for a symbol. Now remember, when you're done, ask your family to take a picture, and your family is going to upload that onto Canvas, and then Miss Tebow gets to see it. I can't wait to see your art. You got this. Go get it, artists.